Jake Martinez pressed his face against the window of the ship. Below him was a world he had never seen before. Green forests covered most of the land. Blue rivers ran like ribbons through the trees. Purple mountains rose in the distance. It looked like a perfect place. "Beautiful, isn't it?" said Commander Lisa Stone. She stood behind Jake, watching the planet too. "But remember, we don't know what lives down there." Jake nodded, but his eyes stayed on the planet. He was a scientist who studied alien life. This was his first trip to a new world. He had waited years for this chance. The ship was called the New Horizon. It carried a team of explorers from different planets. Most of the crew were not human. Dr. Zexathara was from a world of insect people. She had 4 arms and big eyes like a fly. Navigator Kyle Wynn looked like a dolphin, but could walk on land. There were others, too. "Landing in 10 minutes, called out Kyle Wynn from the front of the ship. Jake felt his heart beat faster. Soon, he would walk on a new world. He would see plants and animals that no human had ever seen. Maybe he would make a great discovery. The ship touched down in a clearing near the forest. Jake could see tall trees with silver bark and leaves that looked like they were made of glass. Flowers grew everywhere. Some were as big as dinner plates and glowed with soft light. Commander Stone gathered the team. "Remember the rules," she said. "Stay together. Don't touch anything until we test it. Don't eat anything. Don't go more than 50 feet from the ship." Jake put on his environment suit. It would protect him from bad air or dangerous germs. All the team wore the same kind of suit. They looked like space people from old movies. The door of the ship opened. Jake stepped outside and felt the soft ground under his feet. The air smelled sweet through his suit's filters. Birds with rainbow wings flew overhead. Everything was more beautiful than the pictures had shown. Dr. Zexathara held up a scanner. "Air is safe," she said in her clicking voice. "No dangerous gases. Gravity is normal. Temperature is good." The team spread out but stayed close together. Jake wanted to run into the forest and see everything at once, but he knew Commander Stone was right to be careful. New worlds could be dangerous. They walked slowly through the clearing. Jake took pictures of every plant and animal he saw. A butterfly with wings like mirrors landed on his camera. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. "Jake," called Commander Stone, "don't wander off." But Jake had already seen something amazing. At the edge of the forest was a flower unlike any other. It looked like it was made of crystal. Light shone through it like a rainbow. It was the most perfect thing he had ever seen. Jake looked back at the team. They were busy studying some rocks. No one was watching him. The flower was only 30 feet away. He would just take a quick look and come right back. He walked quietly toward the forest. The crystal flower was even more beautiful up close. It was as tall as his hand and had 6 petals that looked like clear glass. Inside the flower, colored lights danced like tiny stars. Jake knelt down next to the flower. He took out his camera and started taking pictures. This would make him famous. No one had ever seen a crystal flower before. He was so busy with his pictures that he did not hear the sound behind him. Something was moving through the grass, something long and smooth and very quiet. The creature struck like lightning. Jake felt something sharp hit his neck. Pain shot through his body. He fell backward and saw the thing that had bitten him. It looked like a snake, but it was beautiful. Its skin was covered in scales that changed color like oil on water. The creature was as long as Jake's arm and as thick as his wrist. Its eyes were bright green and seemed to glow. For a moment, Jake and the creature looked at each other. Then it slid away into the grass and was gone. Jake touched his neck. His suit had 2 small holes in it. He could feel wetness on his skin. The creature had bitten him and its teeth had gone through his suit. "Help!" he called out. "Something bit me!" The team came running. Commander Stone was first. Her face went white when she saw the holes in Jake's suit. "What bit you?" she asked. "Some kind of snake," Jake said. "It was beautiful, but it bit me hard." Dr. Zexathera ran over with her. "Medical scanner." She pointed it at Jake, and her big eyes got even bigger. "Commander," she said, her voice shaking, "this is very bad. The venom in his body. I have never seen anything like it. These readings say he should be dead." Commander Stone grabbed Jake's arm. "How do you feel?" she asked. Jake thought about it. He felt fine. Actually, he felt better than fine. His neck tingled a little bit where the snake had bitten him. It felt like when his foot fell asleep and then woke up. Not painful, just strange. "I feel okay," he said. "It just tingles a little." Dr. Zexthera looked at her scanner again. She hit it with one of her hands like it was broken. "The readings are the same," she said. "Jake, you have enough poison in your body to kill 10 people. How are you still alive?" Jake laughed. He could not help it. Everyone looked so worried, and he felt perfectly fine. "Come on," he said with a smile. "It was just a little tingly. I've had mosquito bites that were worse." The alien crew members stared at him like he had said something crazy. Dr. Zexathera's scanner kept beeping warnings about the deadly poison in his blood. Navigator Kyle Wynn made a sound like a scared whale. "Humans are impossible," she said. "Commander." Stone shook her head. "We're going back to the ship right now. Jake needs medical attention." "But I feel fine," Jake said. "Can't we stay a little longer? I want to see more of this place." Dr. Zexathera made a clicking sound that meant she was very upset. "Jake, you should be dead. You should have died the moment that creature bit you. Instead, you are asking to stay longer?" Jake shrugged. He really did feel fine. The tingling was already going away. He looked back at the crystal flower. He still wanted to study it, but Commander Stone was already pushing him toward the ship. "Move," she said. "We need to figure out how you're still alive." As they walked back to the ship, Jake could not stop smiling. This was turning out to be the best day ever. He had found a new kind of flower and been bitten by a beautiful snake. He could not wait to see what else this planet had to offer. Behind them, Dr. Zexathara kept looking at her scanner and shaking her head. In all her years as a doctor, she had never seen anything like this. The human should be dead. Instead, he was happy and asking for more adventures. Humans, she clicked to herself. They are all completely insane. Back on the ship, Dr. Zexathera worked faster than Jake had ever seen anyone work. Her forearms moved like a blur as she set up medical machines. Wires and tubes connected to screens that beeped and flashed. "Lie down here," she told Jake, pointing to a metal table. Jake climbed onto the table. He still felt perfectly fine. The tingling in his neck was almost gone. He watched Dr. Zexathera attach things to his arms and chest. Commander Stone stood nearby with her arms crossed. "How bad is it, Doctor?" Dr. Zexathera looked at the screens. Her big eyes moved back and forth as she read the numbers. "It's impossible," she said. "The computer says Jake has 7 different deadly poisons in his blood. Any one of them should have killed him in minutes." "But I feel great," Jake said from the table. "Can I sit up?" "No," Dr. Zexathera said quickly. Stay still. I need to understand what is happening. More screens turned on around the room. The ship's main computer began to speak in a calm voice. Warning. Patient contains lethal levels of neurotoxin, hemotoxin, and cytotoxin. Immediate treatment required. Jake raised his hand. What do those words mean? Dr. Zexthera turned to look at him. Neurotoxin attacks your brain and nerves. Hemotoxin destroys your blood. Cytotoxin kills your cells. You have all three and more. Huh, Jake said. That sounds bad. It is bad. Dr. Zexthera clicked her arms together. You should be dead, Jake. Very dead. Not just a little dead. Very, very dead. Commander Stone moved closer to the table. Jake, tell me exactly how you feel. Jake thought about it. Honestly, I feel better than I did this morning. My back doesn't hurt anymore. I had a headache before we landed and now it's gone. I feel really good. Dr. Zexthera made a sound like steam escaping from a pot. She turned to her computer and started typing fast. I am sending your test results to the Galactic Medical Center, she said. Maybe they will know what is happening. 20 minutes later, the ship's communication system buzzed. A voice came through the speakers. It sounded old and wise. This is Dr. Veltar from the Galactic Medical Center. I have reviewed the test results you sent. There must be an error in your equipment. No error, Dr. Zexthera said. I have checked everything 3 times. Then your patient is dead, Dr. Veltar said. No known life form can survive those toxin levels. Jake waved from the table. Hi. There. Not dead. There was a long silence from the speakers. Then Dr. Veltar spoke again. Who was that? That was the patient, Commander Stone said. Another long silence. Put me on video call, Dr. Veltar said. The main screen turned on. An alien that looked like a tall tree with eyes appeared. Dr. Veltar stared at Jake for a long time. Are you really the patient with the toxin readings? He asked. Yep, that's me, Jake said with a smile. How are you doing? Dr. Veltar's tree-like face changed colors. This is impossible. Completely impossible. I am sending your case to every medical expert in the galaxy. The screen turned off. Dr. Zexthera sat down heavily in a chair. I do not understand, she said. In medical school, they taught us that these toxins always kill. Always. There are no exceptions. Commander Stone touched her communication device. New Horizon to Earth Command. We have a medical emergency. A familiar voice came through the speaker. This is Dr. Alan Foster. What's the problem, Lisa? Jake smiled. Alan was his old friend. From college. They had studied science together on Earth. Alan, it's Jake, he called out. I got bitten by an alien snake. Everyone thinks I should be dead. Jake, what happened? Alan's voice sounded worried. Dr. Zexthera quickly explained. The test results. She sent all the data to Earth. Jake could hear Alan making surprised sounds as he read the information. Well, Alan said finally, that's definitely a lot of poison. See? Dr. Zexthera said. Even human doctors agree. But Jake, Alan continued, do you remember when we went camping in Australia? You got bitten by that spider and said it just tickled. Oh, yeah, Jake laughed. That was a funnel web spider. The guide said I should go to the hospital, but I felt fine. And in Brazil, when that snake bit you? That was just a fer-de-lance, Jake said. Nothing serious. Dr. Zexthera's eyes got so big they looked like they might fall out of her head. A fer-de-lance? Those are very dangerous snakes. Not really, Jake said. I mean, sure, they can make you sick, but it's not like they're deadly or anything. Alan's voice came through the speaker again. Lisa, I think I know what's happening. Can you put me on video? The screen turned on again. Dr. Alan Foster appeared. He was a thin man with brown hair and glasses. Behind him, Jake could see the medical labs on Earth. Hi, everyone, Alan said. I think the answer is actually pretty simple. Jake isn't special. All humans would probably survive those toxins. Dr. Zexthara stood up so fast her chair fell over. What? That's impossible. Actually, it makes perfect sense, Alan said. Dr. Zexthara, what kind of world do you come from? Valaria is a peaceful world, she said. We have gentle weather and friendly animals. The most dangerous creature on my planet is a small bird that sometimes steals food. And Navigator Kylewin. What about your world? Alan asked. Kylewin's dolphin-like voice came from the speaker system. The water world of Aquatica is very safe. Our biggest predator is a fish the size of your hand. Alan nodded. That's what I thought. Most species in the galaxy evolved on safe worlds. Earth is different. How different? Commander Stone asked. Earth is what we call a death world, Alan explained. Almost everything on our planet is trying to kill us. We have snakes that can kill an elephant, spiders that can drop a horse, plants that can burn your skin off if you touch them, jellyfish that can stop your heart with one sting. Jake nodded. Don't forget the blue-ringed octopus, or the cone, snails, or the stonefish. The point is, Alan continued, humans spent millions of years learning to survive on a planet full of deadly creatures. Our bodies learned to fight off toxins that would kill most other species. Dr. Zexthara sat back down slowly. You mean this is normal for humans? Completely normal, Alan said. Jake, do you remember your childhood immunizations? You got shots for dozens of diseases that would kill most aliens instantly. Oh yeah, Jake said. Measles, mumps, chickenpox, flu, tetanus, lots of stuff. Each of those diseases would probably wipe out entire alien planets, Alan explained. But human children get them as routine shots. Commander Stone shook her head. So you're saying that what looks like superhuman toughness is just normal human biology? Exactly, Alan said. You've been thinking of humans as weak because we're new to space travel. But we're actually the toughest species in the galaxy. We just didn't know it. Dr. Zexthara looked at her medical scanners again. But the readings still say he should be dead. Your scanners are based on alien biology, Alan said. They don't know how to read human resistance levels. To us, those toxins are just mildly annoying. Jake sat up on the table. So can I get up now? I really want to go back and look at that crystal flower. Absolutely not, Dr. Zexthara said. If there's one deadly creature down there, there might be more. Jake grinned. That's the best part. I want to see what else this planet has. Dr. Zexthara put her head in her hands. Humans, she muttered. They are all completely insane. 3 days later, Jake was feeling perfectly normal. Dr. Zexthara had run every test she could think of. All the poison was gone from his body. He had not gotten sick even once. Word about the human who survived impossible toxins had spread through space. Ships from different planets sent messages asking for details. Scientists wanted to study Jake. Medical centers wanted copies of his test results. Then something big appeared on their scanners. Commander, called out Navigator Kylewin from the front of the ship. We have a large ship approaching. It's military. Commander Stone hurried to look at the screen. A massive warship hung in space above them. It was dark gray and covered with weapons. Red lights blinked along its sides. That's a Zephyrian battlecruiser, she said quietly. "What do they want with us?" The communication system buzzed. A harsh voice filled the ship's bridge. Exploration. "Vessel New Horizon, this is Admiral Vexkoth of the Zephyrian Empire. Prepare to be boarded." Commander Stone pressed the reply button. "Admiral, this is Commander Stone. We are on a peaceful science mission. Why do you want to board our ship?" "You have something we need," Admiral Vexkoth said. "The human who survived. The toxins. We must study him." Jake looked up from his breakfast. "Study me? That sounds fun." Captain Danny Rodriguez, the ship's security chief, shook his head. "Jake, the Zephyrians are not nice people. They use other species for weapons testing." "Weapons testing?" Jake asked. "They find new ways to hurt their enemies," Danny explained. "If they think humans can survive poisons, they might want to use us as soldiers in toxic environments." Commander Stone was still talking to the Admiral. "Admiral Vexkoth, I cannot allow you to take one of my crew members." "You misunderstand," the Admiral replied. "This is not a request. Prepare for boarding, or we will take your ship by force." Captain Rodriguez moved to the weapons controls. But everyone knew their small exploration ship could not fight a battle cruiser. "Commander," called a new voice from the communication system. "This is Dr. Amy Liu calling from the research ship Earth's Hope. We are 2 hours away and coming to help." Commander Stone looked surprised. "Dr. Liu, what are you doing out here?" "Earth Command sent me as soon as they heard about Jake's situation," Dr. Liu said. "I'm a geneticist. I study how different species are built. I think I can explain what makes humans special." Admiral Vexkoth's voice came back on the radio. "Dr. Liu, you may approach, but the human still comes with us for testing." "Actually, Admiral," Dr. Liu said, "I think you should hear what I've discovered before you make any decisions." An hour later, Dr. Liu's ship docked with the New Horizon. She came aboard carrying a large computer and several data pads. Dr. Liu was a small woman with short black hair and bright eyes. "Jake," she said when she saw him, "you look healthy for someone who should be dead." "That's what everyone keeps telling me," Jake said with a laugh. The Zephyrian Admiral also came aboard with 6 of his soldiers. Admiral Vexkoth was tall and thin with gray skin and sharp teeth. His soldiers carried energy weapons and looked mean. "Begin your tests," the Admiral told Dr. Liu. "I want to know how the human survived." Dr. Liu set up her equipment. "Actually, Admiral, I don't need to test Jake. I already know why he survived." She turned on her computer. Pictures of different planets appeared on the screen. "Most species in the galaxy evolved on worlds like this," she said, showing pictures of peaceful planets with calm weather and gentle animals. "Safe worlds where the biggest danger might be falling off a rock." The next picture showed Earth. Volcanoes exploded. Lightning split the sky. Huge waves crashed on rocky shores. Humans evolved on what we call a death world, Dr. Liu continued. A planet where almost everything is dangerous. Admiral Vexkoth leaned forward. "Explain." Dr. Liu pressed a button. The screen showed a small blue octopus. "This pretty little creature can kill 50 humans with 1 bite," she said. "We call it the blue-ringed octopus." The next picture showed a colorful frog. "This frog's skin has enough poison to kill 10 adult humans. 1 touch and you die." More pictures appeared. Deadly snakes, poisonous spiders, plants that could burn through metal, fish with teeth like razors. "For millions of years," Dr. Liu explained, "humans had to survive on a planet full of creatures like this. Our bodies learned to fight off toxins that would kill most other species instantly." Dr. Zexthera clicked her arms together. But the toxin levels in Jake's blood were impossible to survive. Impossible for your species, Dr. Liu said. But humans deal with toxins every day. Jake, what did you have for breakfast this morning? Coffee and chocolate, Jake said. Dr. Liu nodded. Coffee contains caffeine, which is deadly to many species. Chocolate has theobromine, which can kill most animals. Humans eat these poisons for pleasure. Admiral Vexkoth's eyes narrowed. You are saying all humans have this resistance? Every single one, Dr. Liu said. We also resist diseases that would wipe out entire alien planets. We can survive temperature changes that would kill most species. We can eat foods that are toxic to others. She showed more pictures on her screen. Humans swimming in oceans full of jellyfish. Humans hiking through jungles filled with deadly snakes. Humans eating plants that glowed with warning colors. Earth is the most dangerous inhabited planet we've found in the galaxy, Dr. Liu said. Only the toughest species could survive there. That's why humans seem so resistant to damage. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. So what the Admiral thinks is a special human ability is actually just normal for us. Exactly, Dr. Liu said. You've all been thinking of humans as the weak newcomers to space. Actually, we're probably the toughest species in the galaxy. Admiral Vexkoth stood quietly for a long moment. Jake could see him thinking hard about this new information. If this is true, the Admiral said slowly, then humans would make excellent soldiers for toxic battlefields. That's exactly why I'm here, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see General Robert Hayes walking through the ship's door. He was a big man in a military uniform with stars on his shoulders. Behind him came 10 human soldiers in battle armor. General Hayes, Commander Stone said. Thank you for coming. Admiral Vexkoth, the general said, nodding to the alien commander. I hear you want to borrow some humans for weapons testing. The admiral straightened up. The Zephyrian Empire requires soldiers who can survive in toxic environments. General Hayes smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Well, that's interesting, because Earth just decided we don't want to be anyone's test subjects. You cannot stop us from taking what we need, Admiral Vexkoth said. Actually, we can, General Hayes replied. You see, Admiral, you've made a big mistake. You assumed humans were weak because we're new to space travel. But Dr. Liu just explained that we're not weak at all. He pressed a button on his wrist communicator. Outside the ship's windows, space suddenly filled with human warships. Big ones, small ones, fast ones, heavy ones. More ships than Jake had ever seen in one place. How? Admiral Vexkoth whispered. General Hayes grinned. Admiral, if humans can survive on a death world, what do you think our weapons can do? The Zephyrian soldiers raised their energy weapons, but Captain Rodriguez and his team were already pointing human weapons at them. I suggest we all stay calm, General Hayes said. Admiral, I think it's time we discussed a new arrangement between our species. Jake watched everything with interest. A few days ago, he had just been a scientist looking at flowers. Now he was in the middle of a space battle. This is so cool, he said quietly. Dr. Zexathera shook her head. Humans, she muttered. They find everything exciting, even wars. Admiral Vexkoth stared at the human warships surrounding his battlecruiser. His gray face had turned a darker shade of gray. This changes nothing, he said, but his voice was not as confident as before. I still do not believe your claims about human resistance to toxins. General Hayes crossed his arms. What would it take to convince you, Admiral? Proof, Admiral Vexkoth said. Real proof. not just stories about your death world. Dr. Liu looked up from her computer. What kind of proof do you want? A controlled test, the Admiral replied. I have samples of the most deadly toxins known to galactic science. If humans can really survive anything, prove it. Jake raised his hand. I'll do it. No, Commander Stone said quickly. Jake, this is too dangerous. But I already survived the snake bite, Jake said. And Dr. Liu says all humans can handle. Toxins. I want to help prove it. General Hayes thought about it. What exactly are you proposing, Admiral? I have 5 different toxins on my ship, Admiral Vexkoth said. Each one can kill most known species with just a small amount. If your humans can survive all 5, I will believe your claims. And then you'll leave us alone? Commander Stone asked. We will negotiate new terms, the Admiral said carefully. Dr. Liu shook her head. This is too risky. We don't know exactly how much poison humans can handle. Actually, said a new voice from the ship's entrance, we do know. Everyone turned to see Dr. Helen Parker walking in. She was an older woman with white hair and a confident smile. Behind her came a young human soldier. Dr. Parker, Dr. Liu said. What are you doing here? I'm a toxicologist, Dr. Parker explained. I study poisons for a living. When Earth Command heard about this situation, they sent me to help. She looked at Admiral Vexkoth. Admiral, I've been studying galactic toxins for months. I know exactly, what your 5 deadliest poisons can do. And? The Admiral asked. They're nothing compared to what we deal with on Earth every day, Dr. Parker said with a smile. The young soldier stepped forward. I'm Lieutenant Ben Clark. I volunteer to be the test subject. Jake frowned. Hey, I want to do the test. Sorry. Jake, Lieutenant Clark said. You're too important as the original survivor. If something goes wrong, we need you safe. Admiral Vexkoth looked between the humans. You are all insane. These toxins have killed thousands of aliens. Well, Dr. Parker said, we're not aliens. 2 hours later, they were all gathered in the medical bay of Admiral Vexkoth's battle cruiser. The room was cold and gray, filled with alien medical equipment. That looked scary to Jake. An ancient being sat in the corner watching everything. Elder Mordun was older than anyone Jake had ever seen. He looked like he was made of living crystal and spoke in a voice like wind through caves. I have lived for 800 years, Elder Mordun said slowly. I have seen the rise and fall of civilizations. I am here to witness this test and make sure it is fair. Admiral Vexkoth opened a metal case. Inside were 5 glass containers, each holding a different colored liquid. These are the 5 deadliest toxins in the galaxy, he said. The blue one is Andromedan nerve gas. It attacks the nervous system and causes death in 30 seconds. He pointed to a red liquid. Rigelian acid. It dissolves living tissue from the inside out. A green liquid sat in the 3rd container. Centaurian paralytic toxin. It stops the heart and lungs immediately. The 4th container held something that looked like black oil. Void spider venom from the edge of the galaxy. Nothing has ever survived it. The last container was clear like water. And this is synthesized death bloom extract. 1 drop can kill a creature the size of a space whale. Lieutenant Clark looked at the containers and shrugged. Okay, let's do this. Dr. Parker checked her equipment. We'll start with the smallest possible doses and work our way up. Ben, if you feel anything wrong, tell me immediately. Got it, Doc, Lieutenant Clark said. Admiral Vexkoth selected the blue container first. Andromedan nerve gas. This amount would kill 50 Zephyrians. He used a tiny needle to take a drop of the blue liquid. Lieutenant Clark held out his arm. Dr. Zexithara watched her medical scanners. His heart rate is normal. Brain activity is normal. The Admiral injected the nerve gas into Lieutenant Clark's arm. Everyone held their breath. Lieutenant Clark waited a moment, then took a deep breath. Huh. That's weird. What's wrong? Doctor, Parker asked quickly. It tingles, Lieutenant Clark said. Like really strong mint. It's actually kind of refreshing. Admiral Vexkoth's mouth fell open. Dr. Zexithara stared at her scanners. No change in his vital signs, she reported. The toxin is in his bloodstream, but it's not affecting him. Elder Morden leaned forward with interest. Fascinating. Continue with the next test. The Admiral took the red container with shaking hands. Rigelian acid. This dissolves flesh and bone. He injected a drop into Lieutenant Clark's other arm. The young soldier waited a moment. Oh, Lieutenant Clark said suddenly. Everyone tensed up. I have to sneeze, he said. Then he sneezed 3 times in a row. Sorry about that. The acid makes my nose tickle. Dr. Parker checked her readings. No tissue damage, no cellular destruction. He's completely fine. Admiral Vexkoth was starting to look worried. The third test. Centaurian paralytic toxin. He injected the green liquid. Lieutenant Clark rolled his shoulders. This one makes my muscles feel tight, he said, like I need to stretch. He did a few jumping jacks. Yeah, that's better. His heart is still beating normally, Dr. Zexithara reported. Lungs are working fine. No paralysis at all. The Admiral's hands were shaking now as he picked up the black container. Void spider venom. This has never failed to kill. He injected it into Lieutenant Clark's leg. The young soldier thought about it for a moment. You know what this reminds me of? Lieutenant Clark said. That time I got stung by a jellyfish in Florida. Just a warm, tingly feeling. Elder Morden stood up slowly. In 800 years, he said in his ancient voice, I have never seen anything like this. Admiral Vexkoth held the last container with trembling hands. The death bloom extract. This is the most deadly substance in the known galaxy. Save some for me, Jake called out from where he was watching. I want to try it too. Dr. Zexithara made her steam-escaping sound again. Jake, you are not helping. The Admiral injected the clear liquid. Lieutenant Clark waited. Everyone in the room held their breath. Well? Admiral Vexkoth whispered. Lieutenant Clark grinned. I don't feel anything at all. Are you sure that one was supposed to be deadly? The Admiral sat down heavily in a chair. He stared at Lieutenant Clark like he was seeing a ghost. This is impossible, he whispered. Dr. Parker smiled. Admiral, let me tell you about some of the things humans survive on Earth every day. She pulled out her own computer and showed pictures on the screen. We swim in oceans full of creatures that can kill us, she said. We eat plants that would be deadly to most species. We live with insects and snakes and spiders that carry dozens of different toxins. More pictures appeared. Humans hiking through poisonous jungles. Humans eating spicy food that glowed red hot. Humans getting medical shots that would kill most aliens. Yesterday, I had coffee with my breakfast, Dr. Parker continued. Coffee contains caffeine, which is toxic to most species. I also had chocolate, which contains theobromine. Both of those would probably kill a Zephyrian. Admiral Vexkoth looked up at her. You eat poison for breakfast? Every day, Dr. Parker said cheerfully. And I brush my teeth with fluoride, which is also toxic. Then I take vitamin pills that would overdose most aliens. Elder Morden moved closer to Lieutenant Clark. "Young human, how do you feel now?" "Great," Lieutenant Clark said. "Actually, I feel better than when we started. Maybe those toxins had vitamins in them or something." Dr. Zexthara checked her scanners one more time. "All the toxins are still in his blood, but his body is processing them like they're harmless." Admiral Vexkoth stood up slowly. He looked at General Hayes. "What do you want?" he asked quietly. General Hayes smiled. "A conversation, Admiral. A real conversation about how our species can work together." Jake raised his hand again. "Can I try the toxins now?" "No," everyone said at the same time. The meeting between Admiral Vexkoth and General Hayes lasted 3 hours. Jake spent the time talking with Elder Morden about the different worlds in the galaxy. "Most civilizations evolve on safe worlds," the ancient being explained. "They develop art, science, and culture without worrying about survival. But this makes them fragile." "What about Earth?" Jake asked. "Earth is unique," Elder Morden said. "A world so dangerous that only the strongest species could survive. This made humans tough, but it also made you adaptable and brave." When the meeting ended, Admiral Vexkoth looked like a different person. His angry expression was gone. Instead, he seemed thoughtful and maybe a little worried. "General Hayes," he said, "the Zephyrian Empire would like to propose a partnership with humanity." "What kind of partnership?" Commander Stone asked. "We have many worlds that are too toxic for our people to explore," the Admiral explained. "Planets with poisonous atmospheres or deadly creatures. We would pay humans to explore these worlds for us." General Hayes nodded. "That sounds reasonable. What else?" "In exchange, we would share our technology and protect human ships in Zephyrian space," Admiral Vexkoth said. "We would also like to buy some human food and medicine." Dr. Parker looked confused. "You want to buy our food?" "After seeing Lieutenant Clark survive our toxins," the Admiral said, "I am curious about what humans consider normal food. Perhaps it could be useful as medicine for other species." Jake grinned. "Wait until you try hot sauce." 2 weeks later, Jake was back on the planet's surface. This time, he was not alone. A team of human scientists worked with him to study the local life forms. Dr. Zexthara was there too, though she stayed very close to the humans at all times. "I still do not understand how you do it," she said, watching Jake handle a creature that looked like a spiked caterpillar. "That animal's spines contain enough toxin to kill 100 of my people." Jake looked at the caterpillar, which was trying to sting him through his gloves. "It's kinda cute, like a fuzzy cactus." Ambassador Carol White had arrived from Earth to negotiate treaties with different alien governments. She was a smart woman who spoke many alien languages and knew how to make deals. The Valerian Medical. "Council wants to buy human blood samples," she told Jake during lunch. "They think human antibodies could help treat diseases on their world." "What about the Aquatic Alliance?" Jake asked. "They want to hire human divers to explore toxic underwater areas on their planets," Ambassador White said. "Apparently most aliens can't swim in water that contains any amount of poison." Chief Engineer Tim Brooks was setting up a new laboratory on the planet. He was a young man who loved building things and solving problems. "Jake, come look at this," he called out. Jake walked over to see Tim working on a machine that looked like a large scanner. "It's a toxin detector," Tim explained, "but I'm programming it to read human resistance levels instead of alien death levels." "How does it work?" Jake asked. "Well, for most aliens, if this scanner detects any toxin at all, they run away," Tim said. "For humans, it will rate toxins on a scale from barely noticeable to actually dangerous." Dr. Zexthara came over to look at the machine. What level was the snake that bit Jake? Tim checked his readings from that day. About a level 3. Definitely noticeable, but not serious. And the 5 toxins that Lieutenant Clark survived? Dr. Zexathera asked. Those were all level 2 or 3, Tim said. Strong enough to be interesting, but not dangerous for humans. Dr. Zexathera sat down on a nearby rock. I have been a doctor for 30 years, she said. I thought I knew everything about medicine. Now I learned that an entire species treats deadly poison like mild medicine. Jake patted her shoulder gently with his gloved hand. Don't feel bad, Doc. Nobody knew humans were special until I got bitten by that snake. You are not special, Dr. Zexathera said. You are all crazy. Every single human I have met is completely insane. How are we crazy? Jake asked. You volunteered to be injected with deadly toxins, she said. You eat poison for breakfast. You swim in water full of creatures that can kill you. You live on a planet where everything is trying to murder you, and you call it home. Jake thought about that. When you put it like that, I guess we are pretty crazy. 6 months later, Jake was leading his 5th expedition to explore toxic worlds. The ship's crew included humans and aliens working together. Dr. Zexathera was now the galaxy's leading expert on human biology and served as the team's medical officer. Approaching the Noxus system, called out Navigator Kyle Wynn from the bridge. The atmosphere readings show sulfur clouds and acid rain. Sounds like fun, Jake said, putting on his environment suit. Jake, Dr. Zexathera said, please remember that even humans have limits. Do not do anything too dangerous. I'll be careful, Jake promised. They landed on a world covered in volcanic vents and poisonous geysers. The local creatures looked like metal lizards with glowing eyes. Most aliens would die just from breathing the air, but the humans felt fine. Jake was collecting samples from a pool of bubbling acid when something bit his leg. He looked down to see a lizard creature with rainbow-colored scales attached to his boot. Ow, he said mildly, pulling the creature off. That one actually stung a little. Dr. Zexathera came running with her medical scanner. Jake, are you all right? Jake looked at the bite mark on his boot. The creature's teeth had gone through the tough material and reached his skin. Yeah, I'm fine, he said, though this one is definitely stronger than the snake from Kepler 442c. Dr. Zexathera checked her scanner and her eyes went wide. Jake, this creature just injected you with venom that reads off the scale. It's 10 times stronger than anything we've seen before. Jake waited a moment to see how he felt. The bite area was tingling more than usual. It felt warm and slightly numb. I'd say it's about a 6 out of 10 on the tingle scale, he reported. Definitely noticeable. Kind of like when I got stung by that box jellyfish in Australia. The alien crew members exchanged glances. Lieutenant Clark, who was part of Jake's regular team now, walked over to look at the creature. Pretty colors, Lieutenant Clark said. Think it's poisonous to eat too? Do not even think about it, Dr. Zexathera said quickly. Jake laughed as he put the rainbow lizard back in the acid pool. You know, Doc, I think you're starting to understand humans better. I am learning that understanding humans is impossible, Dr. Zexathera replied. But I am also learning that impossible things happen around humans all the time. She looked at her medical scanner one more time. Jake, you now have enough venom in your system to kill a small city of most alien species. Cool, Jake said cheerfully. How long until it wears off? According to my readings, you should be dead for the next 300 years, Dr. Zexathera said. Well, that's not too bad, Jake said. We should be done exploring this planet by then. Dr. Zexathara made her steam-escaping sound and walked back to the ship. "Humans," she muttered to herself. "They treat death like an inconvenience." Jake smiled as he watched her go. Then he turned back to the acid pool to collect more samples. There were still dozens of new creatures to discover, and the day was young. Behind him, the rainbow lizard poked its head out of the acid and watched the strange human with curiosity. It had never bitten anything that just laughed and said thank you before. The galaxy had learned that humans were not the weak newcomers everyone thought they were. They were survivors from a death world, and they brought their toughness with them to the stars. And Jake Martinez, the man who laughed after being bitten by a venom creature and called it a little Tingly, had become the most famous explorer in galactic history. He was also still alive, which continued to surprise everyone except other humans. "Hey, Doc," Jake called out as he headed back to the ship with his samples. "What's for lunch? I'm hoping it's something spicy." Dr. Zexathara just shook her head and kept walking. Some things about humans would never make sense to her, but she had to admit, working with the crazy Death World survivors was the most interesting job she had ever had.